Coming up on today's episode, you know Jeff Foxworthy?
I'm aware of him.
You might be a redneck.
I'm aware of him.
I'm a Kentucky boy now, so
Yeah,
he's
you
my
can
people.
claim him.
You were going through that list, and I was hearing, if you have a bunch of asphalt granules at the bottom of your downspout, you might need a roof inspection. This is the You Ask, the Pros Answer podcast. Do you have questions about an upcoming exterior contracting project? We've got answers. Welcome to the You Ask, the Pros Answer podcast. Hey, welcome to the You Ask, the Pros Answer podcast. Your questions answered by the pros you trust. My name is Cole, and I am part of the marketing team at Pro Exteriors and your host for this show. And joined as always today, I have owner and president of Pro Exteriors, Aaron Rogers.
What's up,
Aaron? Not a whole lot. Doing pretty well. I love this time of year. Spring and fall are like my go-to seasons.
Yep.
I like this in-between things. All right, Aaron, you know this, but if somebody's joining us for the first time, they might not know this yet. Maybe they just stumbled upon it. I don't really think that's how podcasts work because it's not like you're dialing through a radio tuner. But anyway, listener, viewer, every week on this show, we tackle a question that either you have asked us as a company or that we as a homeowner have asked at some point in the past in hopes that we help each other make a more informed decision when it comes to a home remodeling project. Today is no different. Aaron, today the question is this: does my roof need to be inspected? Now, before you answer that question, you've been doing this for like 100 years or so, right?
Almost, yeah.
Almost like 20-ish, 20 plus years.
Yeah.
You've told us in the past you grew up around construction. Your father was in the industry. You just kind of always, since you were old enough to pick up a hammer, been doing this.
That's exactly the way I tell it. Yep.
So I would guess not a whole lot surprises you anymore. Not a whole lot phases you. But I'm wondering if there is anything rattling around in that brain of yours where you could recount a time where you went out to inspect somebody's roof, expecting it to be completely routine, only to find that there was something lurking beneath the surface.
Yes.
All right.
So,
cool. Great. That's all I wanted to know. Go ahead.
So I'll tell you a story that I'm somewhat embarrassed about.
This is a safe place.
I've been in business. Like I said, we're ending year 20 in business. I have been married to my beautiful wife, Mary, for which is about to be 18 years married. Very, very soon. I have been going to her mother and father's house for that entire 18 years. And I as a creature of habit, when I'm traveling, when I'm sitting still, no matter what I'm doing, I pretty much am looking at roofs. I have a permanent arch in my neck from going like this. And I was recently asked by my father-in-law if I could come look at his roof. He thought he had a tab blown up. And again, I'm there all the time. I've looked at his roof probably at least every week, if not every other week, for 18 years. We've replaced 20 plus roofs in his neighborhood over the last several years. But again, I look at roofs all day, every day. I can pretty much stand on the ground and look at the condition of your roof and tell you whether or not it's at that point. And I got on his roof, and it was one of the worst condition roofs I've ever seen that did not appear to be bad from the ground. So he has a lighter gray roof, and, in lighter grays can be sometimes harder to see certain types of damage. He also has, some of the black algae, which most people are familiar with, on his roof. So, he had some streaking and some shading in some certain areas. So from the ground, it looked pretty similar to almost every 20-year roof that I get on. So I saw he had one little dragon's tooth. He has a laminate shingle. He has one little dragon's tooth that was popped up. So I was like, all right, grabbed the ladder, got to the edge of the roof, and I was like, oh my Lord. Massive granule loss. The shingles were in such poor condition that I could not walk on any of the areas that were above like a 512 pitch without basically creating more damage to the roof. Every step that I took on the steeper pitched areas, the granules literally slid off. Everywhere that I walked on that roof that wasn't the 512 or lower, you could see where my feet were. And I honestly was slightly embarrassed to go down and be like, I know I told you probably still have some time left. You don't. It's time. And then, my in-laws are a little bit older, so they have a couple of extra bedrooms that don't get quite used as often. So I go downstairs, and wouldn't you know it, there's a stain in one of the ceilings, and so yeah. So that surprised me a little bit. So yeah, not too proud to say I was not on my game with that one. But,
well, I appreciate you sharing. And now a word from our sponsor.
You heard it here, folks. Local Milton contractor Aaron from Pro Exteriors, seen all over town. Nobody knows what he's doing. Has he lost his mind?
Okay. When you're offering something this good, you've got to be ready. Pro Exteriors rarely offers a deal this good.
So the question, does my roof need to be inspected?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Yes.
Yes.
What are some signs that I should be on the lookout for? I'll be honest with you. I'm not getting up on my roof. It's not happening. I'll look out the window and see like some of the eaves or whatever. I'll look from the ground. But what are some of the visual signs that I need to be looking out for before I call a professional?
So let's start with the easy ones. If you are walking around your yard and you see a shingle tab, that's usually a pretty good sign that something's going on.
Okay. So a shingle tab on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Keep in mind, if the shingle tab is not the same color as the shingle tab that's on your roof, there's a high probability it came from your neighbor's roof.
Okay.
Because that does happen. We've shown up to houses where they go, hey, I've got some shingles off, found a bunch in the yard. The tabs they have are red, and we get there and their roof is blue. So if you see shingle tabs on the ground, obviously pretty good sign that there's something going on. If you see a lot of granules and stuff kind of piling up at the bottom of your downspouts, if you have the little rain diverters at the bottom of your downspouts, granules will pile up there pretty consistently. If you look up on your roof and you see anything kind of popped up, if you look up on your roof and you see anything kind of caved in, if you ever go in, if you're not comfortable getting on your roof, most people have an attic access. If you live in kind of a builder production home, you probably have a little hatch that still requires a ladder to get into. But if you live in a house that has like an actual attic access ladder that you can pop down, at least once a year, you should be popping up in your attic space. I realize that not all attics are completely accessible, especially if your house was framed with trusses. You're not going to be able to access everything. But at least poke your head up there. Go up there during the daylight, turn the attic lights off, turn all the other lights off, and see if you see any daylight popping through. That's always the easy way to tell if something's going on. So,
you know Jeff Foxworthy?
I'm aware of him.
You might be a redneck.
I'm aware of him.
I'm a Kentucky boy now, so
he's my people. Claim him.
You were going through that list, and I was hearing if you have a bunch of asphalt granules at the bottom of your downspout, you might need a roof inspection.
Yep, sounds about right.
If you've got a roofing tab on, Anyway, all right. Seasons of the year. Best time of year to have my roof inspected?
Spring and fall.
Why?
So cooler temperatures makes it a little easier on us roofers. So it's nice for us to get up there when the temperatures aren't scalding. It's nice to get up there when the temperatures aren't super cold either. In the summertime, when the shingles are at their hottest point, it makes it somewhat difficult for us to access certain things without potentially causing damage. You know, when the shingles are super, super hot, the asphalt underneath of them heats up, and the granules that are kind of embedded into that asphalt can slide right off if depending on what shoes you're wearing or what the pitch is. And
so that could give you some false sense of security.
Yep.
Right. it sounds like there's never a bad time to have your roof inspected. If we're talking seasonally, yeah, middle of winter, middle of summer, probably not the best time. But number of years, like if my
Every
roof
year.
is every year,
Every year.
okay,
Yep. Bottom
All right.
line is you do maintenance on your car. You do maintenance on the inside of your house. If you're in your shower and you notice the caulk is kind of peeling, this is stuff you look at every single day.
Yep.
When you notice that stuff, the best time to fix it is as soon as you notice it. So
Okay.
if you take years in between inspections, a lot can happen in those years. And especially with newer homes that are built, say like after 1998, we have a lot of insulation in the attic space. And I have seen houses that have been leaking for years, but the way that the insulation was installed and the vapor barriers and other stuff that were installed on houses kind of hid those leaks. People never got in their attic space. They never went on their roof. And it wasn't until they looked up and they saw what looked like a ginormous crater in their roof that they realized anything was going on. So every year, if your roof was put on last year, have it inspected this year. Another thing that we run into all the time is, we do run into brand new roofs that were extremely poorly installed. We deal with a lot of builder roofs where they use, the cheapest products and the cheapest labor that they can get their hands on.
Mm-hmm.
Where those roofs, the guys installing it, I mean, is it their fault? Yes. Is it also not their fault? Correct.
Set up
if you're
for
trying
failure.
to make, trying to make a living, and the guy that's paying you is paying you, $400 a day to go put as many shingles on as you possibly can, there's no time to waste. Because also, if you can't hit their deadlines, they'll stop giving you work. And it's a recipe for disaster. And we see it quite often where brand new roofs are low nails all over the place. Shingles are crooked. The adhesion lines don't line up, and just a whole bunch of stuff that it's doomed from the get-go.
So audience, when Aaron mentions low nails, there's a correct way to nail shingles on a roof, right? And there's a strike zone, just like in baseball.
Yep.
Not just like in baseball, but where the nail is going to give, if you hit it in that spot, it's going to give you the best installation, or
it is the only acceptable area to nail a shingle in order to maintain warranty and also adhere to the manufacturer instructions. It's called the common bond. In laminate shingles, it's called the common bond. It's the only area that you can nail that technically goes through both the top and bottom layer of the shingle. With 3 tabs, we can call it the strike zone. They don't really have a common bond, but it's, you can still kind of call it that. But yeah.
Okay. I was honestly not expecting to hear the every year thing, and that makes me realize that I have neglected I've neglected things. Could you walk me through what a typical inspection looks like? All right, so I know as a company we offer free roof inspections. If I have Brad or Keith or you come out, what is entailed in that? What goes into an inspection?
Okay. So the first thing we do is we put the ladder up against the gutters. We get up to the edge of the roof, and the first thing we're going to look for is anything that's missing. And when I say what's missing, so we're going to look for missing products and then also missing shingles. Okay. So, we normally do an exterior walk around. We're going to try and see what we can see from the ground first. If we see any missing shingles, we make sure we look at them a little bit closer. But when we get to the eave, the first thing we want to look at is the bottom row. Is there an actual starter strip? Is there ice and water shield or leak barrier? They're the same product, but they're called 2 different things. So it is code for everybody to have ice and water shield or leak barrier along the eaves, as well as the valleys. Those are the only 2 areas that are code required to have leak barrier. We want to look at if it has a proper starter strip. A proper starter strip is meant for starter. It is not meant to be a field shingle. A field shingle is not meant to be a starter strip. So if I pull it up and I see somebody flipped over a field shingle to use as a starter, red flag. So first thing we want to look at is, do they have ice and water shield? Do they have a proper starter strip? And then we also take the time to go ahead and identify what the shingle is, just so we can keep it for our records. The next thing, before we leave the eave, the next thing we want to look at is the drip edge and gutter relationship. Is the gutter behind the drip edge, or is the gutter over the drip edge? One of the most common leaks we see at the gutter is the water backs up behind the gutter. It drips out between it. It gets behind the fascia sometimes and rots out the 2x6 sub fascia. We deal with that a lot. And it's all because the relationship between the drip edge and the gutter isn't correct. All of that can be mitigated with like adding a gutter apron. Pretty simple fix, but it's a very small missed detail on a lot of houses. So once we get on the roof, we're going to look at pretty much every single product. We're going to go through, do we see, low nails or shiners? A lot of times if you look up there and you see like random shingle, like little pieces of shingle right at the bottom of the thing, it's where the roofer saw that he had a low nail and he goes over and he caulks a little itty bitty little piece of shingle over top of that nail. So we'll see if we see them. We're going to go and make sure all our ridge caps are in place. We're going to make sure that the roof actually has ventilation, whether that's going to be your ridge vent, whether that be an attic fan. We're going to take specific care around all the penetrations to make sure that they were installed properly and flashed and nailed properly. This is going to be your pipes, your exhaust vents, your bath fans, your slant back vents, all of those penetrations. Those are the things that fail the most often, is people just don't typically know how to install them properly. New construction homes, a lot of times what we deal with was a roofer puts the roof on. All of the pipes and vents and everything are put on by the other trade contractors and not the roofer. So we'll see the plumber come behind the roofer, drill a hole up through the roof, and they'll stub the pipe through, and they'll go up there and they'll, make their way through putting a pipe boot on. Plumbers are not supposed to put pipe boots on. Plumbers are not supposed to put bath fans on the roof. So, and then from there, we'll start looking at all of our flashing details. Anywhere that has step flashing, anywhere that has end wall flashing, we're going to go inspect there. And then as we're kind of walking over the entire roof, the number one issue that we run into is improper nailing. 95% of all warranty issues for pretty much every manufacturer for shingles, the 95% of all issues are nailing issues. We talked about the common bond. It's only like 5/8 of an inch, 3/4 of an inch wide. It's not a huge area to nail in. And, almost every roofing crew out there is going to be using a pneumatic nailer. They're going to go as fast as they can, especially in the rough parts of the season. It's hot. If it's 100 degrees on the ground, it's 130, 140 up on that roof. It's hot. Don't get it done quick.
Yeah.
So, we go around and we try to peel up shingles. This is the best time of year. Like I said, in spring and fall, the shingles are going to be pliable. They're not going to be cold and rigid. If it's in the middle of the summer, a lot of times the shingles are so adhered, you can't inspect the nailing. But yeah, so we want to look at all those little details. Skylights. A lot of people have a really negative opinion of skylights because they are so prone to leaking. But skylights don't leak. Poor installations leak. So most of the skylights that we deal with that are leaking are because the install was awful. So one of the jokes we always make is every bundle of shingles has the installation instructions printed on them. So when you screw it up, you literally cut through the installation instructions in order to get to the shingles. And it's the same way with skylights. When you open the box, the skylight, it has the installation instructions right there with it. But people screw it up all day, every day. So we deal with a lot of people that we go to replace the roof and they'll have a couple of skylights and be like, okay, we'll give you a price on replacing them. And they go, nope, we don't want them covered over. Why? Because they leak. They've always leaked. And I was like, well, the skylights don't leak. Okay. In my 20 years in the business, I've never seen a skylight alone leak. It's always been a poor installation. And I've seen skylights that literally you couldn't see the metal flashing because there was so much caulk and tar around them that were still leaking. So, yeah. But those are the things we'll look at from the top side. from the bottom side. Yeah, it's more so just to make sure everything is in place where it's supposed to be, making sure everything was nailed or flashed properly. It's very rare that you can't get on every single roof that you touch and not find something. But you could say that about the best roof installed. There was a GIF inspector I talked to one time. It used to be if you got a Golden Pledge warranty through GIF, they inspected every single Golden Pledge warranty. And I remember talking to that guy, and he said that it doesn't matter how good the install is. If I want to fail somebody, I'll fail him because he'll always find something. It could be one nail out of place. It's a failure. I know that they said it about cops. If a cop follows you long enough, you're eventually going to, make a traffic infraction and he's going to get you. So
just to kind of recap where we've gone so far, to answer the question, does my roof need to be inspected? Yes, it does. How often? Yearly. Best times of the year, the moderate times of the year. So spring, fall. Yeah. Summer's not great because it can hide some of the underlying issues. Winter's not great because everything's brittle and
or
just
icy.
It's also just not pleasant to be up there. Maintenance. So inspection is part of maintaining your roof because it's going to call out the things that are wrong. Correct. Are there some of just quickly, what are some of the simple things as a homeowner I could be doing to maintain the roof to give it the longest possible life?
Yeah, absolutely. So there are some portions of your roof where we don't really have a choice. We have to have nails that are exposed in order to secure like the last cap shingle and, sometimes in issues with end wall flashing and stuff, there's nails that are going to be more exposed than they would be if it was just say a field shingle. So we do rely on caulk. Some companies do what's called sugaring, which is where you literally take, you kind of get a handful of the extra granules that fall off in the packaging, or as you're doing the roof, a bunch of granules will kind of fall down into the gutters and you go scoop them up. You put the caulk down and then you sugar the granules over top of the caulk so it blends a little bit better. But that caulking, use a good caulk, it'll last, we'll say a lifetime in reality. But your home settles, things move, wind events, rain events. So getting up there and checking all of your exposed caulking and making sure that all of that's tight. Keeping your roof clean is another thing that I think some people fail to realize. So if you live in an area where, let's say you have a little bit lower slope of a pitch, a little bit of a lower pitch to your roof, and you have trees and things around it, you may put gutter guards on there to protect your gutters, but oftentimes debris will kind of accumulate and sit on your roof. So this is kind of the same premise as like ice damming. When water sits there and it freezes, and then as it freezes, it thaws and it expands and it gets back underneath the shingles, and then it freezes and it thaws and it breaks the seal of the shingles. Now you're asking for more issues. So when you get up there in the spring and you get up there in the fall, now's the time to basically clean all of that debris off there. Sometimes you have to physically, manhandle the debris depending on how much is up there, or you may just be able to get a leaf blower and just blow it off that way. Cleaning out your gutters is always a proper water flow is always ideal. I have seen gutters fail because they get a lot of buildup in them. Water sits there, water freezes, it expands and goes back up into the shingles, or it gets behind the fascia and gets into the subfascia board. And then, dumb things. You have a lot of products up there that expand and contract. So every year as the seasons go through, anything that has rubber in it should be inspected. And then the other thing to look for is, rodents, insects, squirrels.
All right, Aaron, if as a homeowner, I'm not feeling comfortable getting up on my roof, like I already said to you, I'm not going to do it. Most reputable roofers will come out and take a look at your roof, right? Typically, yes. and many of them won't charge for that. If you are watching or listening and you happen to live in our service area, so if you're in Southern Delaware or the Eastern Shore of Maryland, reach out to us. We'd be glad to come out. And when I say we, I don't mean me. One of our guys would be happy to come out and inspect your roof. You can go to askproexteriors.com, or you can give Tabby a call in the office at 302-664-1700, and we'd be glad to get a time scheduled to come out and take a look at things. Aaron, as always, thank you for your experience and sharing that story at the outset of this episode. No need to be embarrassed. All right, let me go ahead. We're gonna wrap this up, and then we'll be done. That is all we have for you today on the You Ask the Pros Answer podcast. Would you please help us continue to get the word out about this show? The best and the easiest way to do that is if you are listening on Apple Podcasts, would you please give us a 5-star rating? If you are on YouTube, would you like and subscribe? So like this video and subscribe to the channel, or just tell a friend. If you know somebody that's a new homeowner, somebody that's looking to do a remodeling project of any kind, just say, hey, I found this and it's been helpful to me. Also, this show does not exist without you and your questions. If you have questions about an upcoming exterior remodeling project or anything about your house, would you send them to us at info@askproexteriors.com, and then in the subject line put You Ask. We would love to feature your question on an upcoming episode. Hey, if you are facing an upcoming home project, we hope this episode has empowered you to tackle it with confidence. Remember, knowledge is power, and a little bit of research can go a long way. Until next time, happy homeowning. The You Ask the Pros Answer podcast is produced in-house by the Pro Exteriors team. Pro Exteriors is the exterior contracting division of Empire Construction Group, LLC. This podcast is intended for informational purposes only and should not be considered legal advice. For more answers to your questions, please subscribe to this channel and podcast so you'll never miss an episode. Do you have an upcoming home remodeling project? Find more answers to your questions at askproexteriors.com. Hey, thanks for watching this video. Would you please help us out by hitting that subscribe button? That would be awesome. Also, if you never want to miss another one of our uploads, please be sure to hit that notification bell. All right, thanks. See ya.